Facebook's in the process of developing a digital currency. It will allow those who use its apps to use cryptocurrency to make payments. The U.S. government is against these plans. President Donald Trump says cryptocurrency is not money. Facebook plans to introduce the Libra, that's what it's called, next year. What impact will this have on the crypto market? Joining us in studio to unpack this is our resident tech analyst, Tony Trollope. Good morning, Tony.
Morning, how are you?
Still, I'm going to stop saying still breathing. I've got a bad habit of always saying that. I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
All right, Tony, is this cryptocurrency, first of all, the Libra?
What about it? I mean, look, essentially it's not really cryptocurrency, is it? It's a crypto version of trade. So what's going to happen is that this currency, unlike normal Bitcoin, etc., which is open market or isn't owned by anybody other than the people that participate, Libra will be managed and the ledger will be maintained by a collect group, you know, Visa, MasterCard, Uber, those type of people, and including Libra, who is a subsidiary of Facebook, a solely owned subsidiary. Facebook claims there's going to be separation, but I mean, I reckon that a solely owned subsidiary of Facebook is like Facebook being a solely owned subsidiary of the NSA in the US.
Yeah.
So at some point what's going to happen is I think that the terms and conditions will change. You know, you get them often on your apps. It says terms and conditions have a change, please accept.
Yeah.
And I think at that point things might change. So there's a lot of skepticism around it. And I think from the US government side of things, they are starting to lose control over their own currency. And there's a couple of growing movements around where the global currencies are at the moment about who controls it.
And the other thing is you look at Facebook with 2.2 billion users.
It's huge.
That is a lot of influence. And also the point that you made a little bit earlier was, can you trust them?
Well, this is it, you know, and I mean, they've gone through a lot of skepticism, they've gone through a lot of scandal, being Facebook themselves, and somebody asked me to explain Facebook in real world terms, and it's kind of like a family reunion you go to on an annual basis. You know, you always get the good, the bad, the ugly, you get the auntie that misbehaves, you get the uncle that everybody tries to keep away from the children, you know, those kind of things, and Facebook is exactly the same, you know, unless you can actually prove there's something that is wrong or somebody's doing something wrong, you have to just have the rumors, and rumors then become facts, and nothing substantiated, and people have got other ulterior motives, and Facebook's similar to that. Where it becomes very interesting is the organizer of your family reunion now decides to start selling space at your family reunion for advertising and getting the money for it, and that's where Facebook started to face its big issue. And then other people influencing this family reunion against somebody else, and now we start seeing how the elections are now influenced by Facebook and selling that information for it to be done. If you then go and couple a cryptocurrency to it, or a pseudo cryptocurrency, which is currently what they're trying to put together with their white paper, what it basically means is that these guys are trying to go and own a corporate currency.
Yep.
So we have currency that's owned by the people, which is what you have in your back pocket at this point in time. We can exchange without any intervention. We then have the corporate-based currencies, which is almost the same as your rewards, like your e-bucks, etc., kind of thing, but think of it on a global scale. And then you have the government-owned currencies, the ones that you'd have to go and pay to have your money moved from South Africa to another country and back again. And there's all sorts of reasons why that needs to be regulated. And I think I'd be very skeptical of a currency that says we'll make it cheaper than what anybody else is trying to do at this point in time.
That doesn't make sense, does it? Really, it doesn't. I want to move on to eSIM cards, though.
Yes.
Cellular networks like your MTNs and Vodacom, they're getting ready for eSIM cards as opposed to the physical SIM card. Explain to us what an eSIM card is.
Well, what happened in the very beginning when we had cell phones is we'd get a little SIM card, and that SIM card would represent your token of access into a network. And you would then be able to take that SIM card out, put it into another phone and move on, and your access is then guaranteed. About 2 years ago, the Global Consortium decided they would allow people to go and register an electronic SIM card, in other words, a unique number that could be bound to a device for life, that you could then go and allocate and deallocate from one network to the other. So what would happen is that your profile on a network would remain sound, and you could then associate more than one SIM card, and it's now electronic. So what happens is all the devices embed the uniqueness in their device, as opposed to having a SIM card, and all you have to do is link and unlink that device. You know, Vodacom now has decided they're going to use the Samsung Watch to then go and bind that to your Vodacom profile, which means the main number would then be associated to your normal cell phone with a normal SIM card and also the watch.
Is this invasive in any way?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, it's a serial number which has now become a SIM card for the best way of looking at it. And I think the challenges that came before is that you couldn't really have more than one SIM card easily associated to one telephone number. Now with eSIM cards coming around, that becomes capable. And we were wondering why some of the large manufacturers, like for example Apple, didn't have dual SIMs, which we're currently seeing in other manufacturers. Yeah. And they were just biding their time for eSIMs, which allows you to take a normal SIM card, put it in your phone, and the second association of your device could be to any other network. So you could be bound to Vodacom and MTN at the same time for two different services against the same device, but two SIM cards.
What happens if I want to change devices then?
Well, then what you do is you deallocate that eSIM from your profile and then reallocate a new device.
Is that an easy process? Because before I just take the SIM card out, open the other phone, put it back in, which is 2 minutes I'm done.
Exactly the same thing with regards to an eSIM. You go and you reassociate it to your profile. That's all you're really doing.
Okay.
So it's as simple as that, and it's self-service. Of course, there's going to be surcharges. I think Vodacom saying 98 Rand for your first on board and 25 Rand a month.
Of course there's a surcharge.
So there's always going to be a surcharge. And I think the guys are grappling with the best commercial structure that would benefit them as opposed to the ease of use from a consumer perspective. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll be simple and easy enough that there'll be enough vendors to be able to go and associate. The same way that you'd battle to activate a SIM card and get RICA done, the same process would have to apply to eSIM, and associating that eSIM device to you from a RICA perspective would apply just as much.
Okay, and the RICA process would obviously have to be observed, or when you're getting an eSIM card, but when you're registering the phone or the number.
Correct. When you're registering the eSIM.
The eSIM.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So it's better to actually align yourself to an eSIM as the concept, because some devices might have more than one eSIM. Jeez. Some devices would have an eSIM and a normal SIM card. So what you need to do is RICA is looking at the actual SIM card, your access into the network is what they're looking at. So your device is less important, but your eSIM association is more important, yes.
Okay. Thanks for that. I've got a lot to think about over the Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much, our resident tech analyst, Tony Trollope, talking about the eSIM cards. So the eSIMs, that'll be coming our way very soon. MTN and Vodacom are preparing for the eSIM, and also talking about Libra, the new cryptocurrency, or not so cryptocurrency, or whichever way you call it, that Facebook will be introducing very soon if the United States allows them to do so.